Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, I am so excited because I'm interviewing the owner of an iconic brand. You're going to meet the owner of Golden Chick next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, it's not every day that you get to interview the owner of such an iconic brand like Golden Chick, so I'm super excited to introduce Mark Parmerlee. Mark, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you, Jeff. It really is my pleasure. You've been a local industry leader for a long time, so I really welcome the opportunity.
Well, that means a lot coming from a legend in restaurants like you. So help me, I want to make sure I got this right. Did you invent or at least can share some claim to the chicken tender?
Golden Fried Chicken started in 1967. I happened to buy the chain in 1989. Sometime before me, the chicken tenderloin was actually a surplus product when they deboned the breast. And so I think a salesman said, well, you know, these guys aren't very smart. Let's see if we can dump these chicken tenderloins on them. And so that became an addition to the menu where we would bread those tenderloins, and they became golden tenders. And so that was, from that, there are others. I would say there's a restaurant in Pennsylvania that claims to have done it at an earlier year. Otherwise, there's us and a chain in Florida that claim to have invented it for the quick service industry. So
well, no, to me that's awesome that you created a whole new category. And I want to pull up the Golden Chick website. So as we scroll down this, I mean, one, I love your branding. You guys have done an amazing job marketing it. Who doesn't know your jingle? Golden Chick. The food's fantastic. Talk more about the concept and how it evolved over the years.
Yeah, I mentioned it started as Golden Fried Chicken. When we bought it, I always trying to look ahead and how can you improve. Oddly enough, Golden Fried Chicken was deemed to be too generic to get a trademark. So, but we knew there was brand equity within Golden. So Golden Chick was as close as we got. People think we did it to get the fried out of the name, and I suppose that was a nice byproduct, but that wasn't the main reason. So then we set out, kind of one step at a time, trying to evolve to a little bit more. We were very much what I would call a fried chicken shack. And I wanted to be more. I wanted the QSR be within that segment, but to actually have nicer surroundings, nicer food, more handcrafted food. And we retained my friend Stephen Piles to help, and he helped develop a great, what we now call golden roast, and he helped with with chicken salad that actually got a Zagat Award. So wow. Some of my chefy friends, still shake their head and how did you get Zagat recognition? And we didn't. So
I love it. We're gonna show just a little video from a commercial that you guys produced a short time ago, and one, I mean, the food is consistent, and that's something that I've discovered every time I've gone to a Golden Chick. It's always delicious. Talk about quality control, because you now have some 200 locations.
Yeah, we just opened number 218 yesterday in the Houston area. And we are a little bit of a mini McDonald's in terms of business model. We are a franchisor, excuse me. We are a landlord to a significant percentage of the chain. And we happen to have company stores that we run. So, that really, from a banker's perspective, sure, there's some bankers that don't like lending to restaurants, and they view us a little bit different because we're often called asset light, in the sense that we have more franchise stores than we have company stores.
Mark, do you ever go in as a kind of a mystery shopper and go in undercover and taste your own food at a restaurant where they don't know you're coming?
Yes. And they tape me for undercover boss.
They did?
And ask, how would you like to look? I said, it's been a long time since I have hair. I'd really like to kind of look like a hippie, and get the long hair and all that. So, but they said at the time, I guess I got approved at the producer level, but it still had to go to the network. And they said, at that time, they had a lot of restaurant bosses, yeah, and they were looking to diversify some. So anyway, I lost out. But here I am with you.
Hey, that's
bigger than undercover boss.
All right, we're going to pull up a map. This comes from your website, and on this map we can see all your locations. Talk about the strategy you use to open up a new location. How do you know when a market is saturated or needs another one?
Well, we use a psychographic model through a third-party vendor who has literally taken all of our restaurants at the top of the list and the bottom of the list, and then these databases have typically 64 buckets with some really kind of fun names, but it's broken up by demographics. And then they've analyzed, said, well, your really good stores are in these, say, 10 buckets, but they're not in these, and your underperformers are in these buckets, but they don't have some or most of the buckets that the high volume ones do. So that ends up being a predictive model for us, and then we can use it to actually pinpoint where we need to be. The vast majority of our stores are in Texas, and we've been trying to grow that footprint. We were called the Walmart of chicken, which was interesting as I got on a plane to go to Guadalajara, and I see my face and a story about the Walmart of chicken, and just by coincidence I got bumped to number 2 because it announced the death of Sam Walton, who was the founder of Walmart.
Wow, that's super cool.
There was a time where most of our stores were in towns of less than 10,000 people. And a la a Walmart, their strategy always was to go out into the rural markets and the suburbs of a TV market. And then from there, that gave them a TV base that allowed them to compete and have media weight in the more urban areas. And we've done that as well. And at this point, we are approaching 100 stores in the Dallas-Fort Worth TV market. And we, some markets that we just break into, it may just be cable, but for Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, and Houston, we actually have TV weight. And then we have stores in Oklahoma. We have one in Louisiana. one in Florida, but we have several under development in Louisiana, and we have a couple under construction in Mississippi, and are working on a development agreement for Alabama. And then we have a franchisee who already owns a different brand, a hamburger brand in Las Vegas, and he has purchased some sites to bring Golden Chick to.
Well, I love it that you're still in empire building mode, because some entrepreneurs reach a point where they say, hey, I'm good. If I just do nothing but this, I'm fine. But it sounds like you, would you like to be in all 50 states? Is that the goal one day?
Yeah, and maybe if I live long enough, we will get there. But yeah, of course. But you will, if you went back and looked at some old magazine and newspaper interviews, I have said the smart play is controlled concentric growth. I haven't always followed that, and I get reminded why that was good advice to myself. And so, I had the government ask if I'd go to Saudi Arabia many years ago, and I said, no, we couldn't really handle that. We could today. But not at the time. And then somebody in Seattle wanted to do one store, and I said, it doesn't make any sense. Our distribution, our lack of name recognition. And the guy actually cussed me on the phone and hung up. So
really?
Anyway, but as much as I like to take franchise fee money, it didn't make sense for him or for us, and I don't.
Well, I love it. I love it that you're an excellence guy and you want it to do right. You want the locations to do right, and you use your gut, and it served you well. And I want to talk about your mascot. We're going to put this up on the screen because I love the personality that your mascot brings to your concept. Okay, the mascot's name is
Clucky.
Clucky. Okay, so tell me about the evolution of Clucky. When did Clucky get introduced to the market?
Well, we had, even as Golden Fried Chicken, there was, let's call it a chicken head that was on the building, but it had no name. So we ran a contest. And then we've updated him a little bit, and are working on that updating now again. So we have there's a famous illustrator that has done the cheetah for Cheetos, and anyway, he's working on a new.
There's a famous story where Brad Pitt, before he became Brad Pitt, was at some LA restaurant dressed as a chicken. That was really one of his first gigs. Did you know that?
I did not, but maybe we need to reach out for him in case his career
exactly
tails off.
Needs another gig. Okay, so if it wasn't enough that you became a legend in restaurants with Golden Chick, you have also got a very wildly popular concept called Jalapeno Tree. And I'm going to put this on the screen so you can explain to the people who are not familiar with this brand. Tell us about this.
Jalapeno Tree, much like Golden, is based in smaller markets. The founder of the chain had 6 locations and wanted to sell, and we bought those 6, and now have expanded. We just opened up in Palestine with our 15th location. And I have a wonderful operating partner and friend who lives in Tyler and does a fabulous job. And so it's full service. Of course, Golden Chick is a quick service with drive-through and all. Jalapeno Tree is a sit-down restaurant with bars. Some of them do have windows, but it's typically a call-ahead type situation.
Well, and I didn't realize that my team had such an affection for you, because I found out that our head of operations used to be an employee in one of your locations, Jacksonville, I believe, right? And then I learned that our director of First Impressions was starstruck by you because of the concepts that you've rolled out. She wanted a picture with you. There are so many guests that she does not need a picture with, but she had to get a picture with you.
Well, you can win people through their stomachs. So.
I want to give you a chance to talk about philanthropy, because I know that's near and dear to your heart. As I was doing research for the show, I found a wonderful video. We're going to play it, and then I'm going to have you talk about it. Let's go ahead and roll the tape.
Hi. Well, my dear friend and franchisee, Dee Lee, has nominated me to take the Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS. I accept this challenge and am happy to be drenched, and Golden Chick will make a donation to the ALS research. I, in turn, want to nominate my friend and partner, Paul Bambury, the president of Jalapeno Tree, and my friend and partner in Golden Chick, Alan Tharp. And I'm ready when you guys are.
Come to you, the copy passes.
Nope, I'll be there we go.
That was cold. That looked cold.
Yeah, but fortunately it was a warm day. I wouldn't want to do that in January. So,
Okay, but it opens a conversation about philanthropy. Talk about some of the other things that you're passionate about.
Well, Boy Scouts. My father was an Eagle Scout. Both of my sons are Eagle Scouts. We moved around a lot when I was a kid. So I got Cub Scouts, Webelos, and started, but never took it all the way to Eagle Scout. So, but I, very passionate about that. I am on the board of the Circle 10 Council, which is the local, and a friend, Jack First, and I co-founded a Boy Scout sporting clays tournament, and we just got done with our 27th year, and we've raised over $7 million over that time. And it benefits a program called Scout Reach, which Ross Perot started, and now Trevor Reese-Jones has picked up that mantle. And the idea is to give young people access and opportunity for the scouting experience, regardless of demographics, regardless of family dynamics, and so there's some parts of town where there may not be willing and able fathers to, or mothers to be den leaders or troop leaders, and so we will recruit police officers. And it's great. I mean, we'll come back and we'll hear great stories, and some young person can say, well, I could have taken the path of my friends and done some wrong things so I could afford $200 tennis shoes, but instead, pardon me. Instead, I'm getting ready to graduate from Harvard near the top of my class, and scouting, got me on the right path, and it instilled some real principles and values. So, I'm very proud of that. I've had some interesting health issues. So Baylor Hospital has saved my life a few times, and so I am a volunteer there in the transplant department, and I make rounds and I talk to prospective patients and all that. So, and then there's a host of other things. Because our chain really started in these small towns, we think it's critical to give something back to the communities, and so we do that. And whether it's providing food or right now, we just have had a program where during the state fair time, we sold funnel cakes $1.50 goes to a charity that's like a GoFundMe for teachers.
Oh, cool.
And so each of our 218 stores then gets money that goes to projects, and it may be a teacher requesting, a new chalkboard or something that may not be in the budget, or some, supplies or things like that. So those are the kind of things that we do.
Mark, you inspire me. Promise me that some of the nonprofits you mentioned, promise me that you'll introduce me to them, because they need to come on the show too. Yeah. You're amazing. We're going to end with the website, which is, of course, goldenchick.com. The great Mark Parmerlee. Thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure, Jeff.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.